Glenn the Geek here, founder of the Horse Radio Network and host of the Horses in the Morning show. And the following is a Horse Radio Network special episode all about the second Horse Radio Network cruise. We all had such a great time the first time. We're doing it again in 2020. Join fellow horse lovers from around the country on a fabulous 5-night Royal Caribbean cruise starting February 3rd, 2020.
In this special episode, with the help of Michelle from MEI Travel, who is awesome, you will learn all the details about the cruise, and we answer many questions from the first-time cruisers always have. Plus, we speak to several cruisers from the 2018 about their experience with the very first Horse Lover cruise.
Well, I have Megan with us. She was on the cruise with us in 2018, and Megan fills in on the Horses in the Morning show occasionally as a substitute co-host. Megan, thank you for doing this with us. I thought it'd be perfect to have somebody that actually was on to do this.
I know, it was so much fun, and thank you so much for asking. It's definitely going to be a fun time to talk about for sure.
Now, one of the questions we always get, Megan, is why a cruise and not a dude ranch somewhere? Why are we getting together and doing a horse lovers cruise when we should be doing something with horses? And the way I explain that is this is a time that you're getting a break. What I wanted to do was do something in the middle of winter when you're in snow and ice and you just need a break.
You're right.
Right? I mean, and right. You came from all the way on the West Coast down to Florida for this. So.
I could not have come from farther away if I tried.
But that's why we did it. We did it as a time to all get together as horse people. We talk about horses, but we don't have to take care of the horses. There really was a lot of horse on the first cruise. It's just we didn't have to take care of them. They weren't right there with us.
Right, exactly. Well, it's not like we're riding any. I think that was other reason why you guys said February, because it's a lot of people can't ride anyways in February, so people would be more likely to enjoy the beach right. and the 80-degree weather.
And the other reason we did it, to be honest, I'm America's Horse Husband, is we did it as a way for you to be able to bring your non-horsey husbands along, that they could also have a good time going on vacation with you, where they knew that you weren't going to be going off all day, every day riding horses, and they would have other horse husbands they could hang out with, and that's exactly what happened.
Absolutely, or horse mothers,
yes.
As was my case. So yes, no, definitely. That was definitely something that I know a lot of horse husbands mentioned that they enjoyed very much so.
So if your husband is going, I don't really want to go on a cruise with a whole bunch of horse people, you can remind them that half of those horse people are horse husbands that are going through the same things that they're going through. So,
exactly.
So, yeah.
You guys can go and bitch about horses later.
Yeah, we have a lot in common. And we do some things, we'll talk about that too. We do some things together as horse husbands, and the horse wives go off and do something. So we have a lot of planned activities that way. So it's an opportunity to go on vacation with other horse people. One thing I do need to clarify is this is not a clinic. This is not one of those corporate cruises where you go into meetings all day and learn stuff. We're all about having fun and just having a good time. That's what this is about.
And eating lots of food and drinking lots of drinks.
If you want to learn stuff, listen to our shows. You don't need you don't need to go on a cruise and sit in boring meetings. You can learn stuff listening to our shows on the way to the cruise.
Exactly.
Or
streaming on the day of the cruise.
That's right. It is February the 3rd, 2020 is when we're going to be rolling out of Tampa on Royal Caribbean Brilliance of the Seas for a 5-night cruise. We're going to talk more about that. And we do a lot of activities too, and we're going to talk about that. In addition to what the cruise provides, we as a Horse Lovers group do a lot of activities together. And we're going to talk to Michelle from MEI Travel, our travel agent, about what all of those are. And we have a very special day before the cruise planned that we're going to talk to you about too that does involve animals. So Tampa is a wonderful place. It's one of my favorite cities. It's my favorite city in Florida. So I think you're going to love leaving out of Tampa. It's so easy to get around, much easier than Miami was last time.
Miami was a little scary.
That was a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, it was definitely a little scary.
I didn't want to leave out of there again. I even got lost in the parking garage. So we're going to, it's much better in Tampa, and that's where we're leaving out of. But let's bring Michelle from MEI Travel on to talk all about the details. Hi, Michelle. Yay.
Thank you so much. It's so exciting to do this again with you guys.
Michelle went along with us last time. You actually came along and handled all the questions that I didn't have answers to, and thank you for that. Appreciate that.
No worries. Yeah, it was really fun. It was a great group of people, like 30 36, almost 40 people. It was really fun.
And they're horse people, which you don't know anything about horses, right?
I do not know anything about it, but that didn't sway me at all, and they were very kind.
See,
so they're big mammals.
What all those things were.
Yeah, they have 4 legs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're really expensive. It's all good.
All right.
That's what I heard a lot. Yeah, very expensive.
So MEI Travel, give us a quick rundown on what MEI Travel is.
So we're a full-service travel agency. The only thing we don't do is independent airfare. We've been around 15 years. We have 2 divisions. One's completely dedicated to theme parks like Disney, Universal, and then the other side of it, which I mainly work on, is dedicated to cruises, land tours, Europe tours, river cruises. So just a full-service agency that can handle all your needs. And I'm a kind of a Royal Caribbean specialist in our group, so that's kind of my niche that I kind of fell into, which I love.
Well, that's good because we love Royal Caribbean. So tell us about the cruise we chose for next year, for 2020.
So we decided to do a 5-night Western, so 1 night longer this year, out of Tampa, which is a very easy port to get in and out of.
It is.
It's on February 3rd, 2020 for 5 nights, and it's on the Brilliance of the Seas, which is a Radiance class ship, so that's a little bit of an upgrade from the ship we were on last time.
Ooh.
It was built in 2002 but refurbished in 2013, so that wasn't too long ago, so maybe a little more sparkly. And they do enhancements all the time. They try and upgrade it, so I will check to see if that will happen before we go. But it's a great ship. It's got the same dining rooms and venues that we had last time, just maybe a few extra things.
And
but it's a 5-night Western Caribbean, which is going to be great because we have one extra. We have Cozumel and Key West this time and a couple days at sea.
Yeah, we didn't have the sea days last time, and I really loved the sea days. People think that's going to be awful, and it's wonderful. So it really is.
It is really relaxing. It's really a vacation feeling when you have a sea day.
And that gives us more time to do group activities together, too. Where last year we were scrambling to find time. We ended up doing it 9 o'clock at night. So, so we can do it during the day this year.
Exactly. Miniature golf tournaments, basketball, throwing basketballs at Glen, whatever we want.
Megan's up for that. So, all right. So this port, real quick, Tampa, that's the first cruise I ever took, was out of Tampa, and it was a Carnival. But you've taken cruises out of Tampa, when you're coming in and out of Tampa Port, you better be on deck because it is incredible the tightness of getting through those canals. There are houses right there. There are buildings right below you. It is a feat of nature to watch them get out of that port.
I totally agree. I don't know how they get into the downtown area and you end up right in downtown. You're like, what?
I know.
How did I get here?
It's incredible.
That's crazy. I didn't know it was that tight.
It's pretty tight.
But it's an easy port. We went out of Miami last time, a lot more crowded, a lot more craziness. But still, this is a big cruise port, but it's easy to get in and out of and deal with the cruise ships and stuff like that. So I think we'll have a great time.
You get off the highway, you go a couple blocks, you're at the port, literally. You park in the parking garage, you drop off your luggage, you park in the parking garage, you walk across the street, and you're there. It's that simple.
Oh, wow.
Super easy.
Yep, it is that simple. All right, so prices, how does it work? What's included? That kind of thing for people who are new. And we had a lot of new people last time, like Megan.
Yeah. Yay. So we have the prices are based on the cabin that you choose. So we have those all on the website. I won't, go over exact numbers. You can see that out there. But what it includes is your cruise fare, so your room, port charges, your taxes, and your gratuities. So we throw all that in together so you don't have to worry. Gratuities are tips that you pay your room steward and also the people who work at the dining room for us. So that'll all be paid. If you buy a drink at the bar, you'd have to tip them. That's an extra person. So, but that's what's included in the cruise fare that we're offering. Those are per person rates that I think you have out on the website there. And if you want another category besides what we have as far as group rates go, I can price out anything. I can price 3 or 4 people in a room. It's just going to be a little bit different how the pricing works when you have more than 2 people.
And it's anywhere from $630 up to $860 that we have on the website, and that's per person.
Yep.
And there's 2 people per cabin, which brings up we had this last year too. A lot of people are a one, so we have wives whose husbands won't come, or somebody has to take care of the horses at home. And we tried, and we did a good job last year of matchmaking. And you'll hear some of those people later in this episode and how that worked out. But we can do that too, right?
Yes, you can do that. Definitely put something on the Facebook. I can pair you up with people. And on this ship, there are 3 studio inside rooms that only hold one person and are priced for one person. So that's different on this ship. So if you are a single person, there are 3. They were all available the other day. So you could pay about $800 and get your own cabin rather than paying the double fee, which every other cabin will charge you if you're a single. So just so people know, it's not as much fun to sail in a cabin. It's more fun to have a roommate, I think. So we made a great, lots of new friends doing pairing of roommates. So if you want that as an option, you'll pay a little bit less then. And to have a cabin roommate.
We have 2 of those people coming on later on, and they'll attest to what we're saying about this. So what do they have to pay down, and how do the payments work to go on the cruise?
So that's $100 per person deposit. If we book the cabins that are the group cabins, and I'll tell you that when you email me, it's $100 per person. Those are refundable up until final payment time. If you're a third, 3 or 4 people going in a cabin, then I have to price it different. It's still $100 per person down, but you can book different deposit options. Everything, some of those might not be refundable deposits, but I'll explain that to you if you're a triple or a quad. But then everybody's final payment is due. You can make payments over time. Like you can just email me, call me, and say pay $100 more on the credit card I gave you. That's perfectly fine. And then final payments due. Technically, like November 2nd, I've got to bump that back a week because I have a wedding on November 2nd for my daughter. So we're going to have to pull off. I can't be working on the cruise when I'm at the wedding. So I'm going to bump back the final payment date. It's usually never a problem for anybody, but I can work it out for people if they have a question about it. So November, like October 28th, let's say, is the final payment. So you're refundable. The group deposits are refundable, and they're refundable up until that final payment date. So you could hold on to a cabin up until that time, and if you can't go, you get your $100 back if you book the group rate.
And I don't know about Megan, but Jennifer and I, that's what we did with you. I would just call you up, say, okay, this month let's pay $200. Next month, I called you to say pay $100, and we just paid a little bit. That's not a bad thing. That's one of the advantages to dealing with MEI Travel and a travel agent is you can do that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I did. As I would just email Michelle and be like, here, charge $7,500 to this card, and she would do it, and it would be gone and done, and I wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah, and so things that aren't included in your cruise fare are, which everybody asks about, alcohol, soda, anything that comes out of a soda tab, seltzer water, soda, alcoholic beverages. They do have soda packages and alcohol packages. You can pre-purchase those before you get on, and it's a little bit cheaper. The pre-purchasing is anywhere from about $50 to $70 per person per day of sailing. So we can talk about all that. It'll all be in an information sheet. Shore tours are not included. Airfare is not included. Insurance is not included. And then any pre-night or pre-packaged things that Glenn's doing, those are all extra costs also. But that again, that'll all be explained in the email that I would send to you. Here's the things aren't included. Everybody asked about drink packages. I don't purchase those for you. It's done through like a cruise planner. If you want that, you just do it on your little onboard cruise planner that you sign up for with Royal Caribbean.
And it's one of the advantages of doing a group cruise is we will help you through all of that. Megan, did we help you through all of that last year, Megan?
You did. I was walked through and taken care of very, very well by everybody. So absolutely.
Megan, that's one of the things about going on a group cruise for your first cruise. It's actually a really good idea, isn't it?
Yes, it's definitely something that I would totally recommend as a first timer last year. I was genuinely petrified, and having everybody there was definitely a very good thing, and took a lot of stress out of, and to be able to actually enjoy the cruise for sure. Definitely.
We've had a couple other questions that came in from listeners, so and we can answer them real quick. How much they charge for children and infants? So I know we had some people with kids along, and we're going to talk to one of those later on.
Yeah, and they were great kids. They were a lot of fun. So unfortunately, cruise lines don't really give a break, or Royal Caribbean doesn't. So if you have a 1-year-old, they're going to pay a third or fourth person rate. Their taxes are the same, and they also have to pay the same gratuities, even though they're not really eating that much in the dining room. That's just the rule. So some families who are families of 4 save money by splitting it into 2 cabins, which I know Lisa, I think, did. And so she had 2 cabins. Her kids were in one. She was in the other. And it was actually more cost effective for her to do it that way than to book one cabin with all 4 of them. So there are lots of options I can offer to you if you have families. But kids, infants, They get great kids programming. There is babysitting on board, so there are lots of things for the kids to do, but they do pay the same pricing.
And I know that a lot of them left their kids at home and took it as a way to get away from the kids. So that was what most people did. Will we be eating group dinners together? Megan, you can answer that one.
Yes, and I would totally recommend it. It was so much fun to listen to everybody and what they did that day, and all the fun stuff that everybody did, especially on the day that the group went riding. So it was definitely a lot of fun. I would very much recommend that for sure as you join us at dinner at night.
That's kind of and it's also our chance to say, okay, this is what we did today, but what's everybody doing after dinner? And then like there was a group heading to karaoke and you knew where everybody, or the one night all the ladies went and had game night and the guys, we all went down to the bar and avoided the ladies. So that was a good time to connect every night. And we also kind of discussed what was happening the next day. So it was perfect to all eat dinner together.
Yeah, and the tables are all set next to each other, so we swap tables. A couple of us, you could sit at the same table, but a couple nights, I swap tables, Glenn swap tables, so we could talk to different groups of people. And then some nights people would go to a specialty restaurant. They do have several of those on board where you can pay just a cover fee to go to a restaurant. The food is free, but you might want to go to Chops and have a dinner alone with your significant other, and then the next night come back to the group, and that's perfectly fine. Then you're back at the group tables with all of us. So we eat at 5:30, the early dining time, and then there's a show or activities later in the day, but it gives you a lot more flexibility of what you can do in the evening time if we eat early.
Yeah, that's why we did that. Yeah. And then the other thing, Megan, this next one, we were just talking about this. You can take this one.
So they asked, how did you get dressed up for dinner? Which is such a horse person question because no horse person wants to get dressed up.
Yeah. Well, you really don't have to be dressy. People don't wear the tuxedos and things like that. You certainly can, but it's much more casual now. They don't like some things in the dining room. They don't prefer jeans or tennis shoes. But if you wear just khaki pants and just a collared shirt for a guy, and girls can get away with pretty much anything. It's very flexible. It's very low key. So I wouldn't stress out about your clothes. You don't have to be wearing a dress, but if you want to wear a dress, you certainly can, and that's perfectly fine to do that. But it is casual.
There's one formal night on a 5-night cruise. It's usually the second night we're on the cruise, and then they encourage you to dress up a little bit. Like it's the only time of year ever that I put on a tie and wear a suit. So it's my one night a year.
Look good.
And it was fun seeing all these horse people on their dressed up clothes. And it was so funny because we saw some of them in their dressed up clothes with riding boots on. So there was.
And I think they were kind of excited. A lot of them were like, I never wear clothes like this. And I'm like, isn't it fun? Like, you don't have to, but isn't it fun? Because you're not in like your boots with mud on them. It's kind of fun for them too.
You're kind of clean. It's kind of awesome.
You're kind of clean.
All right. So can you bring alcohol on board? You can. Each person can bring a bottle. It has to be in your carry-on luggage, and you have to carry it around with you till you get your cabin. So you each can bring one small bottle, not those great big ones, and not a box. It has to be a regular size bottle of wine.
And it's wine or champagne. It's not. You can't bring alcohol on.
Can't bring a
vodka.
Case of beer either.
No. Now I know people do
tricky
things to bring on their vodka. I'm not going to say what, but I do have some tricks for that. But wine has to be in your carry-on. If you put it in your luggage, they will send you down to the nasty room, the naughty room they call it. So that's where they call you and say, hey, you have alcohol in your checked-on luggage. We have to keep it. They'll keep it, and at the end of the cruise, they'll give it back to you if you have a bottle of wine or alcohol in your suitcase that you're checking through. So you won't lose it, but they will call you down to this room pretty much right when you get on board. They'll call you and say you need to come down and verify that it's your bottle. They put it in a sealed bag. Just don't do it.
And again, we'll help you with all of that before the cruise. We will guide you every step of the way there. What was the last date to book? And with this one, because it's not a huge ship, there's 2,000 people or there.
2,300. Like that.
So they're going to want to book as soon as they can.
Yeah, you get the main thing about booking early. I'll take bookings up until final payment or beyond that. It's that you get your cabin choice that you want. So by the end of it, sometimes the cruise goes into what's called a guarantee status, where I can book you an inside room, but we can't assign you a room. The cruise line is going to pick it. And you don't necessarily maybe want that. You'd rather pick a room yourself. So that's the advantage to booking early. You can book, like a lot of people are now booking on deck 9, so we can all get on deck 9 if we book early. And then everybody else, if you want to come in late, that's great. I can still price out options for you. You just might not get the cabin that you want. So you might have to take what's there.
Okay.
Which is fine sometimes.
And
if you're on the ship, that's good.
And as we said, you can get your deposit back all the way up until November anyway. So, and we covered some of this other. There was one person that asked, can snorkeling be arranged at Cozumel? And I think it can. And Megan, you had an experience snorkeling. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was a blast. We went snorkeling on the day that we were at the private island, and we had a wild manatee and her baby come up and swim with us for like half an hour. It was really cool. So I've never snorkeled in Cozumel, so I can't necessarily guarantee you're going to have the same experience. But yeah, it was we did it on the private island, and I got a little sunburn, but it was a lot of fun.
I have a private company that I have snorkeled in Cozumel. It is actually one of the top diving snorkeling spots in the world. Actually, it's fabulous. So I'm going to contact him. I paid about $55 to $80, somewhere in that range, for me and my husband. And we went on a 3-hour tour to 3 different spots. I saw sand dollars. I saw starfish. I was able to see tons of different ships in 3 different spots. It was phenomenal. So I'm going to contact him. We'll see if we can get some group rates out for a whole boat just for us. And I'll get back to Glenn on that.
And I know Megan will be there.
Phenomenal place.
Yeah.
Phenomenal place to snorkel. If people want to do any boating activities, water activities, Cozumel is a great place. And there's a lot just to do. You can just walk off the ship and walk around the town without having to pay any money to do a tour too. There's a lot of beaches you can go to. So it's a great spot that you can do some things without having to spend a lot of dollars too.
Jennifer and I are looking at doing the dune buggies. We've done 4-wheelers in a bunch of places, but we've never done dune buggies, so I think we might try that. And the other thing is we're stopping at Key West again. Key West, you can book shore excursions, but everybody last year just got in groups and pretty much hit the town and had a great time. Everybody loved Key West. That's just why we're putting it back on this year.
Yeah, it's a great stop. Really, really easy to do, just walking around tours, and they've got great food. It's just a fun, destination. If you've never been there before, there's a lot of things to see and do, a lot of interesting people. So it's just a fun place to go.
We ate crab and candy.
Crab and candy.
Oh, fun. There you go.
That's what we did in Key West. We went and had crab and candy.
Oh, that's awesome.
So one of the things we're getting a lot of is women saying, my husband's not convinced. He doesn't want to go with a bunch of horse people on a cruise. And I will say that us husbands had a great time. We got the thing is, you're going on a cruise with other horse husbands, so we got to hang out and talk. And one night we just spent the night together, talking about nothing that had anything to do with a horse.
Football.
We might have bitched about our wives a little bit, but it was fun to be with other horse husbands. It was really, that made it fun.
I didn't know anything either, and it was a ton of fun for me just to meet all the people. It was about the people. I mean, we all do different jobs too, besides having horses, some of us. So it was just a fun group of people to hang out with. It really was.
And Megan, your mom came.
Yes. So my mom came, who is not my husband or a horse person, and she had a blast.
Good.
So
she was fun. She was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. She's definitely the life of the party wherever she goes. So she definitely had a lot of fun as well as, and there was definitely times where we could get away, and she even sometimes was like, Megan, no horses for like 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Yeah. So.
Okay. One more thing I want to elaborate on a little bit that we mentioned a little bit earlier that Megan and I talked about was the day before we leave on the cruise, which is February 2nd. We're doing something very special. There's something in Tampa that you all have to see, and being horse people and animal lovers, you're going to want to do this. It's called the Big Cat Rescue. So Big Cat Rescue is a huge rescue for all types of very large cats from around the country. So if somebody gets a lion and decides that they can't take care of the lion, or it goes into receivership and it's taken from the people, Big Cat Rescue gives them a home for life. So they have every kind of cat there. It's a well-run organization. We actually went down and got a private tour for the Finding Florida show. So we're going to arrange a tour the day before, February 2nd in the morning, to go to Big Cat Rescue as a group. That'll be a little bit extra charge. They don't charge much to get in. It's a donation to help run the place. And then in the afternoon, we're going to go have lunch together. And then in the afternoon, we're going to go to the Tampa Aquarium, which is literally right beside the ship. I mean, right there. It's Tampa Aquarium and the ship. So we're going to go there in the afternoon and then all go out to get dinner together. And what we're going to try and do is arrange a group hotel. So if you come in the night before the Big Cat Rescue and stay that night, and then stay the night before the cruise, we're going to all try and stay as a group at a hotel. And we're going to look, we haven't discussed which one yet, but Michelle and I will look into that.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
That was a lot of fun, too.
That was a lot of fun to meet. Yeah, wasn't that fun, Megan, to be able to meet people the night before? We had a pizza party in the lobby. It was fabulous. And we could all kind of talk and meet each other. And then when we got on the ship, we kind of knew some people. And then the first day, too, when we got on the ship, we all went upstairs and, watched the ship sail out. So we were all kind of together there. So there was a couple of events right at the beginning that kind of connected you with people, which was great. And then it made it easier when you saw them on the ship,
Exactly. You could wave and smile at people and not seem creepy at all whatsoever. So no, that was a lot of fun for sure.
And this time we'll actually get to spend maybe 2 nights together and a whole day doing the fun animal stuff before we head out. And the Tampa Aquarium's incredible. It is a really good. I've been to a lot of aquariums, and it's a really good aquarium. As a matter of fact, that whole downtown area of Tampa is really cool.
It's very nice.
Tampa's one of my favorite cities, actually, because it's so accessible. Everything's accessible. So we'll work on where we're going to stay and all of that, and get you more details. Get the cruise booked, and then we book all of that separately. We also do some fun things on the cruise. We have a game night where we gave away a ton of prizes. I mean, a ton of prizes. Everybody got prizes. That was fun. Everybody
got something.
Yeah, we're going to do that again. Horse Husbands meet up. All the ladies got together and played games that one night. And as far as I could tell, there was a lot of alcohol consumed that night.
Maybe.
So
I can't comment on that either way, Glenn.
So we actually
what?
We actually have a meeting right the first day on the ship. When you get on, when you board, that afternoon before we get our instructions about what happens if we crash, we will all get together and we go over the schedule for the week. We answer any questions first timers have about cruising. We have goodie bags for everybody, and I think that just helped you were there, Megan. Did that meeting help you?
It really did. And like Michelle said, it also put, faces to names, and you kind of got to, ask all the silly questions without being in front of a group of, 2,000 people. So no, that was, and it was fun on top of it. So yeah, it definitely put my mind at ease.
I don't think so. Just definitely, email me if you have questions. I'm happy to answer anything for you and go walk through all sorts of different options for booking. So yeah, just email me. I'm available pretty much 7 days a week. So always helping out.
Okay, and her email address is at horseloverscruise.com, and all the details are there about the ports and everything else. It's at horseloverscruise.com. Now let's hear from some of the Horse Radio Network listeners that went on the first Horse Lovers Cruise. We asked them what they thought of going on a group cruise, and here's what Robin had to say.
I was very grateful for all the Horse Radio Network people to be on the cruise with me, because I don't like going places by myself. And even though I had never met anybody in person, I had interacted with them on Facebook and through the Auditor Facebook group, the secret one. And we already knew each other. So, there was a time when we would just hang out. We'd see each other walking around the ship, and we'd just sit down and start chatting about our horses. And it was awesome.
Good. I had the same experience. So, yeah, absolutely.
Next up was Lisa, who also brought her kids along. The whole family went, and one of her kids' name is Trooper, and he was on with us too.
Well, horse people, hello. That was the best part.
I know, right?
like I really enjoyed the like the group like meal time that we had people that we could sit with, and we kind of moved around a little bit and got to talk to different people. Because the cruise I remember going on in the past, which was my husband and I did our honeymoon on a cruise, and it was like the worst cruise ever. I think we were the youngest people on the ship, and we were always paired up with all these really old people, and the meals kind of sucked. So that part was great, having a group.
On your honeymoon? That's awful.
I know.
We drink a lot.
We did. We both had the drink package on that cruise.
We also had a chance to catch up with Charlotte, one of my good friends and one of our para-riders here in the United States, and asked her how she liked the group cruise.
I love that because I was by myself, that I could just roll around and see someone with the HRN lanyard, and I was like, oh, a friend. And no matter who you ran into, it was, you both knew that you were right out of the barn onto the boat, and that it, wasn't exactly comfortable all the time. And it was just fun to be with everybody that had common interests.
So Robin and Charlotte went as singles, and we paired them up with somebody before they went on the cruise, and let's find out how that went, because I know there's some of you looking at doing that this year also. Who'd you room with?
My partner was Marie, and we actually once we figured out who we were going with, we kind of touched base together off of with Facebook Messenger, and then we started exchanging emails. And I told her that I was flying in the night before or the day before, and we found out that our flights were actually arriving at this within an hour of each other. So I actually waited for her at the airport, and we met at the airport, and then we found the shuttle to the hotel together, and then we stayed in the same hotel room. And then that way we could kind of join up and meet at the hotel that night when we had pizza, and we hung out, and then we experienced going through the line to get on the ship together. But yeah, we'd never met before that, and we're still friends today. So it was a great experience.
And now, did Charlotte like who she was paired up with? Speaking of Jemmy, who's a wonderful producer, my co-host on the Finding Florida show, you got roomed up because you came as a solo, and you two, you had such a good time. You're booking again for next year, right?
Oh yeah, we are. We emailed back and forth. I got the email from her today that we're ready to, and Michelle too, that we're ready to book. We've got a room reserved.
Yay! And you know what's interesting about Jemmy, too? She knows nothing about horses. She produces our shows, and she's learning a little bit, but she had never met a horse before she petted Scooter's nose. So, and yet she had a blast. I mean, because horse people are fun. So,
yeah.
Well, and Charlotte is even more fun because, she's Charlotte. So, absolutely.
And then finally, we asked everybody what was their favorite part of going on the first Horselovers cruise. And our answers also include Trooper, who is one of Lisa's kids that was along, and he had a good time, too.
Riding on the beach?
Yeah, that would be pretty hard to top.
Before. So, yeah, I can't recall who arranged it, but they looked into, a reputable facility that didn't have starving horses, and the facility worked with us and put everybody that came from HRN in the same riding group. So we were all able to go together, and it was just a lot of fun. And since we were all experienced horse people, they let us stay on extra time and just kind of hung out with the guides and had an awesome time. So yeah, that was my favorite.
So on this particular cruise, when we went to the Bahamas, we did a pretty cool excursion. So we went and saw the dolphins and got to in Trooper, I'm sure we'll talk about this, so I won't give it away, but it was really neat to have the kids to experience some of these different places with kids, to see, because they find such joy in things. So it was really fun to experience it with them.
Well, the dolphins, that was definitely a highlight, but on the near, I think where they did the navigation of the ship, they had the bungee trampoline. I think that had to be my
Oh.
favorite part.
Oh, that would be cool. I do remember seeing that,
Yeah.
but I don't know if any of us did it. So you were trampolining it up on the seas, huh?
Mhm.
I really liked parasailing because I wanted to go parasailing with Rich, and I'm a para to go parasailing, so that was just amazing.
The
And
parasailing.
yeah,
How
And I
was it? Was that
also
better
really liked
than you
the-
thought? Was it different? Was it scary? Talk to us about parasailing.
it was a little bit the same that I thought it was what I thought it was going to be, but I have a little bit of a daring streak in me, so I loved it. It was really cool. It was a really good experience.
And then what was your second part?
And okay, my second one, I really liked the game show night. Like when we were all goofing off, it was fun. Yeah, it was really fun.
So as Michelle said, we had 40 people last year. Let's see if we can get that higher this year. That was a good-sized group, actually. It was like
It
four
was.
tables
It was
of 8
wonderful.
at dinner or something like that. But we'd like to see more. It's, the more the merrier. The more of our blue Horselovers cruise lanyards that we see on the cruise, the better. And we gave away some silly prizes and some really nice prizes, actually, so people can win stuff, too.
Yeah, it was totally awesome with the game night. Everybody walking away a winner for sure.
And we gave away, it's funny because we gave away these little rubber duckies in everybody's goodie bag when they came on board.
Yes, I remember that.
And everybody still has them. People are
Yes.
posting pictures that are rubber duckies, so I guess we have to do that again.
For sure.
It's goofy, it's fun. It's just, if you listen to our shows, it's just like that.
Exactly. It is exactly. And Glenn and Jen and Jemmy and everybody are exactly the way that you think they're going to be on a cruise.
We have a good time. HorseLoversCruise.com is where you can find all of the details. We also have a closed group on Facebook called Horse Lovers Cruise. Just search for that, and you can ask to enter that, and we'll enter everybody who's interested in going on the cruise. You can ask questions in there. It's private, and we'll answer questions. Michelle's in there, so she can answer questions. Megan, Jemmy, Jennifer, we'll all answer questions for you. I think Jennifer and I, this will be our 5th cruise. I think it is now.
Man, you guys are old timers.
I know. We're old timers now. And I just can't say enough how in February, look at this year. You're all snowed in. The snow is freaking above your first story windows.
Exactly.
So-
This is the year to book, people. This
Yes.
is the year to book.
Yeah. Come to Florida. It's nice and toasty. Actually, I hate to tell you all, but I will to try and sell the cruise. We have been in the 80s and 90s. Where you
Oh.
guys are all having your snow and your minuses, we have been actually sweating down here in Florida. It's been hotter than usual. We've hit 90s in February. So
That's
I don't know.
crazy.
It's crazy. So come down, join us by the pool on the ship.
Yes.
It'll even be warmer in Key West and Mexico. And it's not hurricane season. Don't worry about that. And we're leaving out of the Gulf side, and the Gulf is even quieter. So the Gulf is like a joy to go on a cruise ship on.
It's going to be smooth sailing, man.
Yeah,
Literally.
it is, definitely. Megan, I'm looking forward to having you along.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun.
Yay.
I can't wait.
All right. We'll see everybody. It is HorseLoversCruise.com. Contact Michelle with any questions. Get your reservations in. Remember, you can always cancel. But you know what? If we sell out, you can't get a room. So book
right.
it. It's $100. Put your $100 deposit per person down and then cancel later if you have to. And a lot of people did that last year. There's nothing wrong with that. It's part of the deal. Thank you, Megan. Happy cruising.